So I really don't even want to record this video, but I guess it's better to finish things off rather than just leave halfway through. So life obviously happens, and there are things that we can't even imagine or can't account for, and coming to BYU was one step that I knew that I was going to be a good step for me to take. But I couldn't even imagine what happening to me. Like, it just wasn't realistic, and it just wasn't going to happen. That's just how it was. I don't even know where to start or how to begin explaining this, so I think it's best if I just talk about somebody other than me for a minute. Yeah, so it's going to be easier for me to talk about somebody else other than me right now. So the only other person that I can think to talk about is Lewis. So Lewis and I were dating, as you know, and things were going fairly well. I mean, he was still awkward and like socially distant, but I just chalked it up to him being an RM and returning from his mission. But things were definitely not as I thought they were. It turns out that Lewis had been cheating and lying his way through school. Apparently he plagiarized one of his major papers, and his professor confronted him about it, and he said that he didn't do anything and that it was all of his work. And the professor turned the paper into the Honor Code office. The Honor Code office is like BYU's government, essentially. They deal with like academic dishonesty and following the school rules, which include like LDS standards, so like dress and modesty and like not drinking and doing drugs and stuff like that. The Honor Code office reviewed the paper and they decided that it was plagiarized, so they kicked him out of school. So Lewis isn't here anymore, and it's just me. So if that story couldn't get any worse, I have to talk about me now and explain what happened. So Lewis was kicked out, and I was still in school. And I have told you guys about Teresa and how it was against my housing contract. And apparently my roommates didn't like Teresa, and so instead of saying something to my face, they complained to management. So management told me I needed to get rid of her, but I couldn't. So I got kicked out of my apartment. No more palace. No more great and spacious building. So I was staying in a motel until I found a new complex to live in. And my former roommates, I guess, wanted to kick me while I was down. So they reported me to the Honor Code office for not living in BYU approved housing, which is true because I was staying in a motel, but I didn't have anywhere else to stay because they kicked me out. And also for a whole bunch of other made up stuff that I didn't do. And they reviewed the charges and they decided to kick me out too. And they decided to do this because one of the like keystones of the case or whatever was that I willingly knew that I had a dog when it was against my housing contract. So yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm staying in a motel and partially living out of my car until I go home, I guess. Yeah. So I guess this is the end. There's obviously no more point to these vlogs if I don't have anything to report. All I know is that I could really use a cupcake right now.